why study the hourly worker? There are really lots of reasons, but we start from, as you can imagine, a Ready App perspective as we commissioned this study and explain why, one, it was important for us as we look at communication for the global workforce that exists today that may not communicate specifically with company email address. But really, as we got deeper into the data, it became more apparent to us that there was a much larger and bigger view that we could take in terms of the behavior of hourly workforces and the tools and the communication and how operationally companies connected to that kind of worker. So if you look in this graphic, companies have tried forever to connect and communicate with, as we're terming hourly workforce, could be non-desk workers, people that don't have at-company email or work with their hands mostly. And so to achieve some of these goals, you'll see in the left-hand graphic all of the ways in which we attempt to touch this worker through social media efforts or text blasts, even direct mail, the United States Postal Service, personal email addresses, Gmail accounts, Yahoo accounts, Hotmail accounts, as well as old-fashioned phone trees, which still are in operation, as most of you may be surprised. As well, by the way, a small little company called the United States Postal Service is still in operation and sending hard copy documents manually to their workforces. So as you can imagine, we kind of talk about even just plain in-person communication, telephone, and even smoke signals, which happened way back when. So this is given way, as you can imagine, to chaos. When you don't have a platform or any kind of hierarchy or organization to a workforce that may turn over considerably more than what people will call desk workers, then there needs to be a way to connect and kind of cut through the noise, to direct signal that the leadership or the operations groups, management, need to get in the hands of people for the sake of a variety of reasons related to crisis or scheduling or operations or HR. So our hypothesis about this hourly worker were more that they are somewhat unconnected, disconnected, disenfranchised, if you will, than they should be. But, of course, we wanted more proof. So thus brings us to our slide and our data that we are talking about today, and to kind of further set the tone for you. We kind of felt like we were missing this bigger opportunity of what was out there. So while hourly workers are almost 60% of the U.S. workforce, so that's domestically in the U.S., over 77 million people, that number is growing. In fact, it was 3.3 million addition from 2011 to 2014. And still, if you go to look for data around this kind of worker to understand better the behaviors and the challenges, there's very little data that exists, even through the Department of Labor or the census. Based on some of our studies, if you just open this up to the whole planet that we live on today, it's potentially 2.1 billion people, billion with a B. So if we decide, as we got into this data, that we needed to expand the study, we could really contribute to something that wasn't just great for Ready App and our ability to connect to this worker and share this expertise with companies all over the world, but it was something significant, and it was a knowledge base that we're hoping that today on this call, everybody will be able to take advantage of and gain some intelligence with it to help you in your businesses.